And so now, at the end of all things, I return unto you, my friends here at the pews. It is I, once again, the preacher man. And as you have surely heard, the death of Xbox is nigh. And while I would love to be able to sit here and tell you that I am above making an entire video to tell you I told you so, I think we both know I'm not. And as such, you have this video. Now, if you've somehow escaped all knowledge of what's gone on in the world of Xbox since last we spoke, allow me to be the one to catch you up. Since last we had our little rendezvous, Xbox has raised the prices yet again. Now you might be thinking to yourself, didn't they raise the prices? And you would be right. This is the second console price raise in one calendar year coming out of Xbox. I mean, it's really unbelievable. Already losing in the console space as they are. Something like 3-1. PlayStation's at 80, probably 90 now million. Xbox is barely scraping past 30. The whole series generation to include the Series S, which was the cheapest entry point, but is now, I think, $50 away from a PS5 digital, which is doing laps around it in sales anyway. Costco also took back their shelf space for the console. No longer selling Xbox products at all. Not no Gamepass cards, not no controllers, no Xbox, certainly no systems. Sam's Club as well since then. And it's rumored that Walmart is soon to follow. Just not selling Xbox stuff at all. Almost unbelievable. Almost. One thing I don't see mentioned as much in the news articles, I think everybody's pretty much used to this now, but Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, the latest one to come out, is also coming to PlayStation. It was in the PlayStation State of Play, so it's over. That's a ship sailed. Xbox games. The Xbox games have found a new home. You think Halo can be at the next PlayStation showcase? Y'all worried about a roadmap? Halo is on it at some point. I mean, let's just be real. And then the biggest domino to fall. Xbox raises the price of Game Pass. And we knew this was coming. Everybody knew this was coming. That's how subscription services work. You boil the frog. As I've said many times on this channel before. But this time, they really cranked up that heat. 50%. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Never mind, they had yet another, the second, I believe in a calendar year, maybe 14 months, restructure of their tiers again. And now they're just copying PlayStation. I mean, the tiers are identical, except, of course, for Ultimate, which is now $30 a month. $30. I think that's the most expensive subscription I know it's the most expensive subscription I've ever heard of. And I'm not going to be one of those guys. You can easily if you play Rocket League, if you play League of Legends, if you like to play a whole bunch of other games also, I guess if you just got a whole bunch of time, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate could easily be for you. Could be. I'm not going to say that that's but it's certainly not for me. And I game a lot, but I would not pay a $30 subscription for video games. That doesn't make sense for me. It could make sense for other people, but regardless of that, and I say this as somebody who has watched the ebbs and flows of this industry every day pretty much for the past 5 years, just seeing which way things go, which way these companies move, all of them. And I have to say, this is easily some of the strongest backlash I have seen to almost any company. I mean, it is completely mainstream to open up both cheeks and let out a hot steaming load right on the top of Xbox. That's commonplace right now. Xbox as a brand is a straight up outhouse. I put that Xbox on fire in the thumbnail, not as exaggeration whatsoever. I don't think this is bad. This is bad. And, of course, we chronicled along the way how this happened. But I really just have to say that it all really came down to the games. If we're seeing, and what I truly do believe, and how this channel started to begin with, is we're seeing the twilight of Xbox. And now it's starting to get real low in the sky. And they just never got the games together. Now, I see people with this revisionist history. Let me be very clear. The Xbox Series generation has been a failure. It's been a failure. Like I said, I've been watching this industry every single year. If you take it year by year, 2020, 2021, when the consoles first came out, were not strong for Xbox. They did not have a strong launch lineup. They did not have a follow-up strong launch lineup. I think 2021 they had a Forza, and then Halo Infinite did drop positively at first. But I mean, then you see the tail end of it. Really, you get into that 2022, 2023 slot. I mean, they just had a grueling 2 years. You look at the only shining to come out of that whole time was Starfield, and which is mixed at best. 2024, you get Hellblade in the middle of the year, and then now you start getting Indiana Jones, Call of Duty, and Game Pass, which, again, another negative Xbox topic we didn't even talk about. Apparently, they lost 300 million. 300 million. I love the 300 million number because that's the number they love to throw around about Spider-Man, right? It cost 300 million. Well, it cost 300 million not just to make the game. Never mind what they spent on the game. They cost 300 million just to put it into Game Pass, right? Apparently, Microsoft coming in, gumming up the works, Xbox coming in, gumming up the works of Activision, lost them $300 million, by putting it into Game Pass. The experiment did not work, which is why it's also excluded from the premium tier of the new Xbox Game Pass tiers. It's so confusing. but ultimately, what you have is a lack of games, which is ultimately the entire point, right? What I'm trying to say is they never got the games together. They never got it together. Even now, even this year, I'm willing to give them this year on output. Oh man, they ran circles around PlayStation, man. Seriously. And I remember Lord Cognito of the Defining Dukes and the Iron Lord podcast, of course, would always say, Xbox is going to get to this point where they're just pumping out so much stuff that PlayStation Studios can't catch up, just by man hours. And he was absolutely right. But you look at it, and none of it is Game of the Year contenders. None of it. You know what I mean? None of them were really like had the moment, captured the zeitgeist. None of it. So really, a lot of it was just stuff, you know. Even I think about Doom: The Dark Age is probably the most like universally appealing game out of the bunch to come out so far. Um, Even that, fell kind of flat as compared to the first return of Doom and Eternal. Yeah, it definitely fell flat in comparison. And none of it captured the zeitgeist. None of it's going to be mentioned in the Game of the Year category. None of it will be remembered outside of this year. Nobody's going to be clamoring for those sequels. Nobody's going to be trying to invest in your ecosystem for those franchises, and even less so now because they're going everywhere. You can get an Xbox game anywhere you're at. Where you at, there's some Xbox games. I promise you. I promise you. And more to come. And everybody knows that now. And it's like it we said this years ago that it was going to stop making sense for Xbox to have hardware, right? That all the money's in the third party publishing. As a publisher, they're doing gangbusters. They're doing numbers. Nothing but successes as a publisher. Even though, like I just said, it's kind of like stuff out of 10. That stuff is, and well, I guess it's not selling like that, but they're putting stuff out. They got output. They're putting stuff out. You know what I mean? At the very least, you can't take that away from them. So, I think as a publisher, they have a large future ahead of them, but their hardware makes less and less sense as time goes on, and we've debunked it many times on this very platform before, but there's no way you get a hybrid PC that lets you go to all these different storefronts and you stop paying for live, and this thing isn't like $1,000+. And then at that point, why not just buy a real PC that's going to let you do emulation, going to let you do a bunch of other stuff that something really titled an Xbox made by Microsoft is not going to, that's a console, I should say, is not going to want you to do, right? And they're not going to want you to stop paying for live. That's a Gamepass sub. There's a lot wrong with this theory, you know what I mean? There's a lot that was leaning on the fact that Xbox is kind of the goodwill console, kind of the customer. Like I said, they've been the value brand, and they should have leaned into that. They should have been the value brand. But now they lost the value in a lot of people's eyes. And it shows. The backlash has been horrendous, man. It's been rough. I ultimately don't think Xbox. I even forgot. There are also very credible rumors from one Sneaker SO, who accurately predicted that Xbox was going third party. I guess he gets the credit for him saying it. Well, we were saying it here too, but whatever. It is what it is. Trust me, you get what you give. You know what I mean? But he predicts that the next gen Xbox console plans even are up in the air at this point. It's not a solid plan. Not saying that it's canceled, but it's what was certainly certain last week is seeming, to be in question this week. That could go either way, But all of this stuff is out in the public. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's on fire about Xbox. And I think they came out and denied it. They came out and denied it, to be fair, and said, everything's going to plan. But what else are you going to say? Yeah, damn. Sneaker SO got us, bro. We not doing it. Come on, man. So, take Xbox at their word, I guess, if you've been doing that for 10 years anyway. You know what I mean? I guess this isn't gonna quite stop you, but I don't think that most people have a ton of confidence because their hardware makes less and less sense. It seems to be less and less where their priorities are focused. It seems to be less and less where anybody would even want to be. So you can't call the series generation anything but a failure. And that's two failures in a row. Xbox One generation and now Xbox Series generation have been straight up flatline failures. And Xbox and Daddy Microsoft got a whole lot of money, but I don't know how many hits they can keep tanking, you know? The brand is in a bad place. You've eroded the trust of most gamers, you know, in a big way. So, like I said, I don't expect Xbox to go away tomorrow. I'm not so sure what their next gen plans are. I'm not sure that they're sure. So, we'll see how it all goes, but we can definitely move that doomsday clock another tick up as the twilight of Xbox really does wane. We're coming down to it. We're coming down to the wire, boys. But that's me. I've been enjoying the hell out of Silent Hill F. Got that platinum. Enjoying the hell out of Ghost of Yote. A lot of good gaming going on during all this. So go out there and play a game, even if you're on Xbox. Play something. Play something before it might be the last joint you play it on. So go on ahead, go on ahead. But I, as always, am Preacher, and I do so hope to see you all back here on the pews.